Well, it's morning here at my cottage. I love this time of day, both as a time to practice, but also just to enjoy the sunlight that's stealing up the hill. This village has a kind of ancient feel, almost as old as that piece. But I want to share with you today something which has the power to utterly transform your guitar playing. I'm going to talk about the left hand and how you apply pressure to the string, how you fret, in other words. And that motion of fretting, with the thumb behind the neck of the guitar and the fingertips coming down, again, I'm going to assume that some things are just known by viewers. The basic idea, and this is the subject of another video, is that all of your movement is based around circles and spirals. And by the way, I can't recommend that you write that down enough. All movement is based on circles and spirals. So you have a nice curve in the hand, what a boat builder might call a fair curve. How we describe shear lines on boats, and that curve allows the fingertips to come down onto the string. It allows enough height in the hand to allow for free movement, all of that kind of stuff. But what I want to focus on today is a very subtle technique, but it changes everything, and you can apply it when you're first starting to play the guitar. I wish somebody had told me this right back in the day when I was 7 and first starting to figure out this amazing instrument. But the basic idea is this: that motion with the thumb behind the fretboard and the fingers coming down onto the string is a kind of pinch grip, and we can think of it as a contracting movement. And all of you, I'm sure, will have experienced tension in the hand, particularly if you have a passage of many fast repeated notes. That's true for a beginner, it's true for a concert guitarist as well, maybe at a more subtle level, but it's still the same stuff. And part of the secret to playing the guitar effortlessly and well is to learn how to put down the pressure, not in this way, not squeezing the hand, not using your opposing thumb. And by the way, I have a pet peeve, which is this whole idea of trying to build strength in the hand by pumping those captains a crush, or making your muscles real strong. I think that's counterproductive, because it just accentuates a movement that is fundamentally wrong. Watch the difference between this and this. Now, in one way, I'm thinking of the movement as a contraction. In another way, I'm putting my mind into a very different place. I put my mind, my thought, into the back of my arm, and I imagine that there's a kind of fascia along the back of the arm that can lengthen. So now, rather than pinching and contracting, what I'm doing is imagining that the back of the hand lengthens. And look what happens to the fingertip. If I have the right form, if I have the right physical structure, look at this. When I start to apply force through the back of my hand, lengthening, you can see that it's almost like a slight rocking motion. The fingertip has to go down on the string, it has nowhere to go. I don't have to go this way, which produces tension down the inside of the arm, it produces tension in the palm of the hand, it also produces tension in the back of the arm. So this is the opposite. It's kind of counterintuitive. We think, oh yeah, I'm going to pinch this, I'm going to put the pressure down onto the string. But actually, if you apply force by lengthening, and it's a very subtle thought process, you just go through the back of the arm, and the fingertip has to come down onto the string. Everybody I've taught this to, their faces are just great. They get this look of wonder, because it's such a different sensation, and suddenly playing the guitar becomes, well, it becomes not an effort anymore. So just to reiterate, it's not pinching against your opposing thumb, it's lengthening through the back of the hand. And if you have the right form in your hand, if you have that sweet curve, then your fingertip has no choice but to go down onto the string. It's such a huge difference. And it's also true of barrés. So, that's again is a subject of a whole other lesson. But when people practice barrés, we think of it as a kind of gripping, almost like we're using a capo. You strap the capo on and you clip it down. But even with a barré, look, as you put the pressure down, my hand is rising. I'm lengthening through the back of my hand, because again, even though it's a slightly different process right at the end of the chain, the finger's held straight, it's not in a curve, but it's the end of a long curve. And if I rotate, the barré has to go down. So if you practice that, I guarantee you it will change everything. And there are so many other things that you can do to kind of capture a sensation of how to move in that way, because that's fundamentally what we're talking about, is a different way of moving and thinking. And when you've got it, then guitar playing becomes just a total joy. So have a go with it, see how you get on. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experiments. For me, I know that this was a really big deal. I'd been on the concert stage for 20 years before I figured out this final level of subtlety. And it came from a martial arts class and an exercise that I was taught in that class, which fundamentally changed the way that I thought about movement and applying power and intention. So see you soon, and enjoy playing around with this new way of playing the guitar.